Hi, Ellie. Just going to go over your post and kind of give you some of my thoughts. Hang on one second here. My computer wants to restart. All right, let's restart. Greetings, Ellie. I wanted to take the opportunity to go over your post here in video format and give you some comments on what I think as I'm reading your posts, so you can kind of get an idea of how I look at these. So, looking at your post. Initially, it's great. You covered all the required sections of this particular discussion. I think that in particular, it's very, very important to understand environmental values, because if we can understand why we value a certain resource in the environment, then it becomes very easy to explain that to politicians when it comes time to creating policies that are going to protect that particular resource. So you were asked to, based on your name, to look at the climate, and climate is a really difficult one, as you can imagine, because right now we have an intense amount of debate going on whether or not climate change requires action, and I think a big part of that is that people don't really understand what the value of a stable climate is, and you touch on that a little bit. So going to your book, one of the things that a stable climate does provide in many ways is our ecosystem services. Regulating the environment is helpful for making sure that all of the other systems that we have on this planet function correctly. Without a stable climate, we're definitely going to see more floods like we're seeing right now. We're going to see more serious storm events, and we're going to have all kinds of problems with things like sea level rise and ocean acidification. So a stable climate is very important to keeping the planet regulated, which in turn keeps the planet from doing damage to us. So in a lot of ways, what we're thinking about with the stable climate is lack of negative effects. If you want to try to quantify what's going on, and you want to say, a stable climate is going to prevent damages, a lot of times that's sort of a negative view of things. For example, we might take wood from a forest and it has a use value and we can sell it in the market at a price. But you can't really sell a stable climate. You kind of have to think of it as something that prevents damage from happening, which has negative effects. Just think of the billions and billions of dollars that are caused by hurricanes and tornadoes and floods. So a stable climate prevents that. But in a lot of ways, that's why it's more difficult to present that to politicians, because they value the resources that we're extracting that are contributing to an unstable climate. They want to sell coal and they want to sell oil. Politicians for the most part are representing interests that make money, and as long as these interests are making money on fossil fuels, that contributes to an unstable climate, and that's dollars in the hand. So to try to convince them that we should value a stable climate so that damage isn't being done can be very difficult. I do want to mention that you should cite your textbook. Go through your textbook and definitely glance through it. If you don't want to read it word for word, look at the charts, pictures, and try to get some of the definitions, because those could be important. You can use these definitions and use these vocabulary words and things like that in your discussion posts. Just copy the citation from the course materials page into your post and put it there, because part of the rubric is going to ask for scholarly support. And if you're not using citations and references, then you're not demonstrating scholarly support. So a policy tension that you talk about is a good one. There's definitely an economic tension when it comes to the smog test program, because just like you mentioned, it is very costly. And in a way, it has a tendency to affect, financially challenged people in society. because these are the people that can't just afford a brand new car, and they can't afford to constantly be getting smog checks. When you get an older car, I have a 1988 Jeep Cherokee that I have to get smogged because I live in California. I have to get it smogged every 2 years, and it has to go to a specialized station and go through a rigorous inspection. And that costs more money than a newer car that doesn't have to be inspected except for every 5 years. So yeah, it is a problem. But if you think of it from a policy perspective, yeah, it's keeping the air clean, it's regulating the climate, preventing smog, and the people that are negatively affected by this type of policy, unfortunately, are oftentimes the people that don't vote. So when it comes to smog checks, people that have plenty of money aren't really worried about that. And for them, they would value the clean air and smog-free skies, and are willing to pay, whatever it costs to buy new cars or to upgrade their old cars. And they get the politicians to go along because those are the people that are vocal and vote and are active in the community, do volunteer work, that sort of business. So finally, it looks like you understand anthropocentrism and biocentrism. Obviously, it's just one way of looking at the world. Are human beings more important, or is the ecosystem more important? You'll find that those are two different kinds of people. And generally, in the policy realm, we think of Democrats as being biocentric in their policy making, and Republicans being anthropocentric in their policy making. All right, that's about it. You got everything down, and post looks good. So if you have any questions, let me know.